Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to Clinic Management System Tutorials. Today is our lecture number 8 and in today's class I'm going to tell you how to create a separate module for user authentication and in simple words you can say it the login module. Okay, because we are creating a modular application, so I am creating the separate modules for every particular thing that can be reused in other softwares also, so that I cannot be creating again and again these particular codes, okay, in every different software. So a different approach is used in this clinic management system. So let's start and have a look how can we create a separate module for the login or the user authentication inside our clinic management system. So let's start. Alright, so this is my software. The previous work that we have done up till now is the roles window and the users window or the staff window, and now let's go to the login window, and here look, I haven't done anything. It's simply pressing, when I'm pressing this button we are going to our home screen. So I have to validate this window with respect to a username and password so that the appropriate user will be logged in and logged out. So for that purpose, let us create a separate module. Solution Explorer, go to your solution and click add new project. I'm creating a whole new project. I'm creating a class library or a DLL for the login or authentication purpose. Okay, so class library, that will become my DLL, and here I am writing authentication. Okay, and then click OK. So your class is now created. Just go to this and rename this class from class 1 to login. Okay, it's saying that you are going to rename. Do you want to rename everywhere? Yes. Okay, so now that's my login class. Now inside this login class, what I wanted to do, I wanted to create a function, public void get login details, let's say, round bracket, curly brackets, open close. Here I should add some of the references inside this authentication process. So go to your references, add reference, and add your main class first. My main class is here, so first of all add your main class. Now because you have added your main class, now is it appearing here? No, it's not appearing here still. So what you have to do, you have to go here and write using, and what is the name of that project where my main class resides? It is main class, right? So using CMS, and now when you write main class, look, it is coming. Okay, so main class dot, now all the functions are all appearing that I have created there in the main class. Why I have referenced the main class here? To get the connection, because my connection is there in the main class. Okay, so one thing is this, and now let me add a semicolon here. Now it's fine. Get login details. So for that purpose, first of all try catch, then write exception object, and then main class dot show message. Look how object oriented works. Everything is interlinked with each other, and these are my custom created classes. So message ex dot message, comma, and then the type of the message is error. Now what? Because I'm going to create an authentication module, so I need something here in this. Before creating this function, I'm creating some properties. So property, that should be string, and this property name should be name, and here I am using these access modifier accessors with some body in it. So I have created a property with the name in caps, and now I am creating a variable private static string and name in small. Okay, and this should be also static. I am creating a static property so that I don't want to create the object of this particular class to call this property. So get what? Return name, I'm doing encapsulation, I'm binding my code and data together, that is known as encapsulation. And set name equals to value, this is the built-in keyword of C#. So whatever the value I will pass to this name, it will be stored inside my original name variable. I hope it is clear to everyone. And if I write here private set, then what will happen? I can only set the name of the user from this class, not from otherwise some other place. So I hope it is clear to everyone that I am storing the name, whatever the name that I will pass to it, this property will store inside this original variable via this property. Okay, so I am passing my data from this name property to this name string variable. I hope it is clear to everyone. So that's an indirect way to access the data. Okay, now after creating this property, what else you need? You need the role of the user. So for that purpose, create here role and then make it static, yes. Create another variable, comma, role. Okay, so role, these are the common things that you use in every software, right? So that's why I have created another string with the name role and another property with the name capital role, and now return role and store inside role. Okay, so whatever the value I will pass to this, it will be stored inside the original role value via this property. So I have created two properties. Now with the help of this method, I will assign the values from my database to these properties, and these properties will then assign the data to the original variables. Okay, so SQL command, it is not appearing, so no problem, we can import the namespaces using system.data.sql client. Okay, so SQL command cmd equals to new SQL command, and then here it is asking me the procedure. So do I have the procedure? No, I don't have the procedure here. I will pass it that procedure on runtime. So can I write here procedure, proc. Okay, then whatever will be the procedure, I will pass it here, and then the connection. So my connection is in my main class. So via main class I have called my connection. Now cmd.command type equals to command type.store procedure. So command type, look, command type is appearing like this because system.data is not there. So cut it, in fact copy this and paste it below. So system.data, now it's fine. Command type dot stored procedure, because I am using a stored procedure. And now the next thing, because you are picking up the details from the text boxes that are the username and the password, so you have to pass that username and password as parameter to the database. So with respect to that parameters, you will select or fetch the values, either the value exists or not. Okay, so you need to pass two parameters. So cmd dot parameters dot add with value, and then here what you wanted to pass, the first parameter name and its value, and the second parameter name and its value. So I don't have the parameter names, I don't have the parameter values right now. So for that purpose, in the previous lecture I have told you a new technical way how you can get multiple values and multiple parameters together with a single collection, that is the hash table. So can I use here hash table using system.collections, because hash table is a collection, so it belongs to the system.collection namespace. And now you can pass here your hash table. So that's my hash table ht, let's say. So whatever number of parameters I want to pass, I can store that inside my hash table, and then I will pass it to this cmd.parameters, because hash table is a collection, so you have to retrieve the values from the hash table. How can you retrieve the value from the hash table? Let me show you. For each, to access the value from the hash table, you use the dictionary item. Okay, dictionary entry, sorry, it's a structure, dictionary entry, and from where you are picking up your data, that is the hash table ht. And then what you can do, every time when this loop will run, it will store the parameter as item.key, because hash table stores data with respect to key and value. So in the key I will store the parameters, and in the value I will store the original values from my text boxes. So that's what I'm doing. I have done this same code in the previous lecture also in the universal CRUD operation. So you see that if you do not understand this still. So first of all, the parameters dot toString, because parameters should be in string, and then what it is asking, the value. So the value is in the value of the hash table. That's it. So how many times this loop will run? The number of parameters I will pass. Let's say I am passing 2 parameters, 2 values, so 2 times this loop will run, or 4 times this loop will run if I pass 4 parameters and 4 values. I hope it is clear to everyone. So after passing the parameters, now what you can do, you can open the connection. So main class dot connection dot open, and then main class dot connection dot close. This is very mandatory step, and copy this and paste it here. In case of any error, the connection should also close. Now come inside SQL Data Reader. This is a class and this is its object, and via this class I am going to execute my query. So cmd.execute reader, and that's it. Now what you can do, you can check if dr.has rows. If dr.has rows means if there are rows based on my username and password, that means I am successfully logged in. If I am not, then there is a problem. So and then while dr.read. So if the data exists, let's say you pass the username and password, and then based on that username and password the data exists, then come in and read that data. Okay, and read that data and store it where? Store it here, name and role. So what you can do here, you can specify name, that's my property that I have created, name equals to dr of. Now you have to specify the column name, but I haven't created the query for the login or authentication yet. So let me write here 0 first. At 0 I will pick up the name, okay, the toString, and for role I am passing here dr of 1. My second column will be the of role. Okay, so what will happen when the data exists, the properties will be picked up and stored inside the name and the role. Okay, so at 0 I must have to call the role and then name and then the role. And if the data is not available, let's say, then else what you can specify here, you can specify a message that main class dot show message, and then invalid username or password, and then semicolon and comma error. That's it. Okay, so if the data exists, then it will be stored inside these properties. If the data is not exists, then do this. So I have setted the data from my database privately inside my these properties, and these properties will now I will use these properties to retrieve the data everywhere in the software. Okay, I hope it is clear to everyone. Now let's go to the SQL and create authentication query for our database. So select your database first, and now create procedure st_get authentication details, or you can write get login details for simple words. Okay, as select all from users inner join. Okay, first give an alias name, then inner join roles are on r.id and u.role id. So that's the join between the two, and here you can pick up the first of all the name of the user. So that will become, okay, that's my original name. One more thing I should call, that is the ID of the user. Maybe we can use that ID somewhere in later in the software, so we can call the ID also. So name and then comma and then come here and u dot the primary key, basically the ID from which the user is identified. So ID and name, and then what else you need to provide here or select here, that is the role. So what you can do, you can use the role ID also and select role ID. Okay, and then the fourth thing, that is the r dot role name. Okay, so role. So if I select this, what will happen? No users are appearing. I think I don't have any users. Let me check. So CMS, tables, users, edit top 200 rows. Yes, I don't have any users. That's why no data is appearing, but that the query is correct. Now I will write here where u dot username, that I will pass from the text box, is equal to @username. I will create a parameter, and u dot password is equals to @password. Now create these parameters here. @username, that should be varchar 50, and then @password, and that should also be varchar 50. Okay, so I have passed these things. Now if I zoom it out, and this is my whole complete query. I hope it is clear to everyone. So if the username and password is correct, then the data will be fetched out, and if the username and password is not correct, then no records will be fetched out. Okay, so execute this query. Commands completed successfully. Now let me rename and create two more properties with the name role ID and the user ID also inside my this class. So two things more that you wanted to pass here is copy it and paste it, and create two more variables with the name in user ID and role ID. Okay, so these two things I am also picking up from the database. So copy this property and paste here also, and write here integer, and write here user ID in caps, so that you can differentiate between this. So user ID return, and it should store user ID equals to value. Okay, now it's an integer property. This is created. Now copy this and paste this also. So what you can write here, role ID, and then specify role ID variable original one, and store the value inside the original variable, that is my role ID privately. So that's fine. So I have created two more properties. Now let us rearrange the at 0 we have the user ID. So what you can do, at 0 you have the user ID, that's my property. What is at 1? At 1 I have the name, so you can specify name. Then okay, because it's an integer property, so you have to convert it into an integer. Convert dot to integer 32, and then close it. Okay, and then you need the role ID and the role name, so copy it and paste it here. Next thing that you need is role ID and then the role. So role ID, and it should become 0 1 2. It should become 2, because at 0 you have user ID, then at 1 you have name, and at 2 you have role ID, and at 3 you have the role name. Now everything is now respectively arranged. So role ID, sorry, role. Okay, so I have picked up 4 things when the data is successfully fetched out. Now what to do next? Now we have to call this st_get login details. So where you have to call it. Okay, one more thing you can do, you can specify a boolean value here. You can make a return type. Why you have entered a return type? So that at runtime you can directly check whether the data is there or not. Simple. So and create a boolean variable here, boolean check equals to false. By default put a false value in it. This is a variable. Now what will happen if the data is there? If the data is there, then what you can do, check equals to true, that means login successful. If the data is not there, that means check equals to false, and then at the end you return this check because you have returned boolean value, so return check. That's it. So that's my whole picture. of the code up till now. If I make it smaller so that you can see it, look, that's my whole login procedure. One-time dynamic stored code. Now you can reuse this code everywhere in any software, okay, irrespective of the columns or the things, because these things are global things and you use it in every software. Now let us build this project, that's DLL. So right click on your authentication module and then rebuild it. Okay, rebuild started. What will happen after building this? The DLL will be created successfully. Look, the rebuild succeeded. Now what you can do, go to your references of the CMS, that is your original project, and then add a reference, and now browse it, and then go to your CRUD, my products, CMS, authentication, bin, debug, and look, you had to call this authentication DLL inside this project, and then click OK. So you have added your authentication module here inside your software. Now let's go to the login window. So where is my login window? Close everything. My login window is here in CMS. So here we have the login window. Okay, so first of all, double click on your login window and verify the names of the controls first. Okay, that's my user text, that's my password text, and use system password character is true, and then that's my login button. Everything is fine. So double click on your login and look what I have done here. I have directly opened the window of the home screen. Now first of all, if main class dot check controls of left panel dot count is greater than 0, that means you have left username or password, anything. Okay, so main class dot show message and fields with red are mandatory. Fields with red are mandatory. For those who are new and who just joined me, so I can tell you that check control is the method that I have created in the first few lectures. So you can see that how I have created check controls for validation. Okay, so see that particular check controls, how I am validating the controls dynamically. So the type of the message should be error. Okay, now it's fine. Else, now validations are there. Now what you can do, you can use authentication module. So authentication, look, it is not coming, the class name is not coming. So using authentication, that's it. And now you use the login class directly. You can be able to use the login. Look, login is there. So login dot, look, everything is coming, these 4 properties that you have created. Okay, and they are static properties. Okay, but the function is not coming. Let us verify why. Okay, where is my authentication? Here is my authentication, and then login, and look that the login details method is not static. That's why I have public static save, and now rebuild it. Okay, so rebuild succeeded, and then login dot, look, now get login details is appearing here. So it is a boolean method. So can I write it inside an if else? Whether it will return true or false, it should be an if else. So I am directly using this login dot get login details, and now it is asking me what? The procedure. So where is my procedure? My procedure is here. Copy it and inside double quotes paste here, and then what it is asking me? The hash table. Do I have the hash table here? No, I don't have the hash table here for my parameters and all that. So what I can do, I can first come here and create a hash table. So hash set is there, but hash table is not coming. No problem. Right here hash table and press control dot using system dot collections, add it. Now hash table equals to new hash table, and now ht dot add, and here you have to add first the key and then the value. So at key I will pass the parameters that are my username, copy it, and paste it, and from where I will pick the username from the user text dot text, and then semicolon, copy it, paste it, and pass here the password text, and then here should be the pass parameter. So that's the thing. So you have passed 2 parameters inside your hash table, and now here you have to, okay, let me close this so that you can view it completely. Now it's fine. So ht, simple. So you have passed your hash table, simple, and now close the bracket. So what will happen if the login details exists? You come inside. If the login details exists true, then you come inside, else nothing should happen. Else nothing should happen, because the message was there already. So when you come inside, when the login is successful, you just navigate to your home screen, simple. That is this one. Cut it and paste it, save. I hope it is clear to everyone. Now let's start and check whether it is working or not. Login, look, the validations are applying now, and now you have to apply the text change property here. Okay, so let me do that. Login, double click on your text box so that it become white when you type something. So if user text dot text is equals to blank, then user text dot back color is equals to color dot fabric, that is the red color that you have seen, and then else curly brackets, user text dot back color equals to color dot white. Okay, so specify white, semicolon. So now that's the validation on text change, and specify here as well. Here you write password text, copy it, paste it, and paste it here also. That's it. Now it's fine. Let's start. Alright, so that's my login. When you now validate it, errors, and when you type something, the errors are removing. Okay, that's what I have done. So now Ali Raza, I don't have any user right now. That's the problem. I don't have any user because my users table is empty. So is it verifying? Look. So look, invalid username and password, I don't have anything. So what I can do now, because I have applied the validations, so let me go to the SQL and add a manual user from here. Okay, let's say an administrator from here. So what you can do, you can give here a username, let's say admin, and the password is admin, sorry, username is admin, and it should be administrator. Okay, and the password, let's say 12345, and the phone number is something, let's say 12345, and the address, let's say Pakistan, and then the role ID, that is 1, enter. Okay, so one data is stored here. So let me verify whether what's the role ID. So edit the roles table, and yes, at 1 we have the admin, right? So that's it. Now let's check what I have. I mentioned the username admin and password 12345. So if I write here admin and the password is 12345, and then when you press enter key, look, you are logged in. Okay, so I hope it is clear. But how can you know that you are logged in? You should display the name of the user everywhere. So for that purpose, what you can do, you can come here and you can specify your username somewhere inside the software. Let's say, let's go to the sample window, and here you have this label. Okay, so at this point, what is the name of this label? Label 2. This is the parent class. So on this load, let us go to the load. Where is the load event? Here you have load. I am not finding the load event. Where is that? Load. Okay, that's my label. So I was going show. Now the load should be display. Yes, this one. Okay, so when this window will load, check if authentication dot login dot user ID, okay, is greater than 0, that means there is some user ID. Okay, if there is a user ID somewhere inside this, then what you can do, you can just display on that label 2 dot text is equals to authentication dot login dot name, whatever the name will be displayed inside this. Else what you can display here, the label, that is this, copy it and paste it, and then what you can write here, simple, that was written before, user. Okay, so now let's check what will happen. Okay, look, by default the user is displaying, and when you type here admin password 12345, press enter, look. Okay, so whoever now log in, and at any window when you go, that administrator will be displayed, because it is a static property, and once you have logged in, then it is fine. Let's go to the logout, but at logout you should clear this also. So these are the testing functionalities. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay, so this is how we can do login and authentication in our software. I hope you have understood this. Thank you so much. Take care. Allah Hafiz.